we are going to calculate formal charge on each atom in a dot structure. So the easiest way to calculate formal charge with a dot structure is this. We can start with the number of valence electrons from each atom. That's the number of valence electrons that you come up with when you are first drawing the dot structure. So iodine and chlorine are both in group 7. So for each of those, we're going to start with 7. So iodine will start with 7, and each chlorine will start with 7 valence electrons. Then what I'm going to do to get the formal charge is I'm simply going to go through the dot structures, and I am going to take one away or count one off from those initial numbers that I had to start for each dot and for each line. So I'm just going to go around each one and take one away for each dot and each line. So I'll start with the chlorine on the upper left. Chlorine has 7 valence electrons. So I'm going to go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The formal charge on that chlorine atom is 0. I can do the same thing on the next one. Start with 7. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That one will be 0. Now at this point, you may see that if we have a chlorine with 3 lone pairs in a single bond, it's going to go to 0. So that tells us that the 2 chlorines on the right will also be 0 because they are in the same environment. Finally, I can do the iodine. Iodine, I start with 7 as well. And now I'm going to take away 1 for each line and 1 for each dot again around the iodine. So let's go ahead and start here. Iodine is 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1. Iodine will have a formal charge of negative 1. These aren't negative signs, so let me kind of fix this here. There we go. So these will be 0. I'll put an arrow there instead of a dash so you don't think that's a negative sign. And the iodine will be negative 1. That's our formal charges on that molecule. Now, let's go ahead and do carbon dioxide, or carbon monoxide next. Here is a correct dot structure for CO carbon monoxide. Carbon, remember, has 4 valence electrons, and oxygen has 6 valence electrons. And you can get that from the electron configuration or from their group number in the periodic table. So if I'm going to do my count off method for carbon, I start with 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1. Carbon will have a formal charge of negative 1. And oxygen, I start with 6. So 6 for oxygen, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oxygen will have a formal charge of positive 1. And that should be the correct formal charges for the carbon and the oxygen on carbon monoxide. Now let's notice one other thing about formal charges. Negative 1 plus positive 1 is 0. The overall charge on neutral carbon monoxide is 0. If we have a neutral molecule like carbon monoxide, the formal charges must add to 0. Let's look at my ICl4 minus ion. Here, the overall charge is negative 1. That means that the formal charges must add to negative 1. And if I look at all of them, I have 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus negative 1 is negative 1. And so that's confirmation that formal charges are correct as well.